This is Abnormal Entertainment.
Hey everybody, this is Daniel Garza and welcome to, another episode of Put It Together. I'm back. I took a little time off, as you guys know. I was going through some health stuff, going through some personal stuff, but you can knock me down, but you can't keep me down. I am back for more. Start by thanking my producer, Mr. Kevin Moyers, for all his help, his support, his guidance. He's been amazing through this whole process. For all you guys who have been messaging me on like where I am, here I am. I didn't really go away. I was just kind of in hiding for a little bit. But we're back with some more episodes. I want to keep Put It Together going. There was an idea of changing the name, but I like Put It Together, so we're gonna keep putting it together. And today, without much, Mikhail, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well, and I really appreciate that you invited me back.
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah.
And this time in person.
Yeah.
For those of you that have been following, the first time that we talked, I was in Portland.
Oh, that's right.
And, you were on vacation too.
No, I wasn't.
No?
I can't remember the last time I took a vacation, so I don't think so.
No? Or we were talking about your girlfriend not letting you work.
Right.
It was your day off or something.
Right, it was a Saturday.
Yeah, something like that.
We did it on the Saturday.
Yeah, and
that's
it was a day off, and you were like, okay, well, I bargained, and I was like, yeah, me too, I bargained to do the show.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then after that, we did have breakfast a couple of times, which was kind of cool.
Some Eggs Benedict?
Yes, I finally got the Eggs Benedict. I admit I didn't really care for the Benedict.
It's all right.
But
nobody's perfect, Daniel.
But that said, I'm out of here. Show's over. How you been, man?
I've been really good. Just working super hard on still on 712. Also developing my brand and like just doing new things while just kind of growing every business and myself as a business person. So it's been an exciting. It feels like a year. Since we've talked last. So it's been let's just call it a year. It feels like a year since we last talked, and
probably,
maybe a little less, maybe 3 years less or something like that. It was whenever I came out with my website or something like that. I can't remember.
Because you were launching your stuff, and I saw it. For those of you that don't remember, because we talked about it in that podcast, I was on vacation going through stuff because there was no TV in the house we were staying.
Right.
And I saw your video, and I was like, he seems interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to be on my show? Sure, when? Now? Okay, let's do it. Boom. And it was like real fast.
Yeah.
And I'll tell folks, that was one of the things that attracted me to want to get to know you.
Yeah.
Was your now attitude.
Yes.
Let's do it now. Like, don't wait. Where does that come from?
Dude, man, that's so funny that you bring that up. I just left a meeting with a client, and I just kept telling him, we just got to do it now and stop thinking about it. You know what I mean? And where it comes from, though, I think it's just because I know where I'm headed, and I just feel like, I kind of know where I want to be. I know the things that need to be done. So when something like a podcast interview comes up, or something that has to do with my business, it's not really like a quick decision that's being made. I've literally been thinking about like everything that's happening today for 3 months, for example, right? So if this opportunity comes up and it leads to this, or this situation comes up and it leads to this, I think that's really where it comes from. And then in addition to that too, I think you might remember I used to play poker for 3 years, professionally, and it really taught me to trust my gut. So when something feels right, I'm just really good to go for it. And I'm right 90% of the time, it ends up being pretty good. I'm obviously wrong sometimes, but for the most part, my gut, kind of leads me the right way.
But don't you think that, because I'm kind of in that wavelength. Mm-hmm. People often, let me start with this. When you have your own business, your own brand, when your name starts to represent what you stand for, what you work as, what your job is. For instance, Daniel Garza, I do podcasts, I do the readings, still do a little bit of promotional stuff. People see my name and they're like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about.
For sure.
All of a sudden you want to do like a freebie, or you just show up to stuff, and people are like, man, you should get paid a lot for this money. But you see the domino effect.
Right.
You're like, okay, so I'm standing here today helping somebody out. But the domino effect later on is going to produce something. And I'm foreseeing that. And then by the time that moment comes, we're like, oh man, that was, you're making all this money. Like all of a sudden you're like, no.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
No, not all of a sudden. Does that make sense?
For sure. It's fun. It's that whole like overnight success thing. It's like people don't know that it took 20 years for somebody to be an overnight success.
Yeah.
That type of thing. But for me, I just kind of continued doing things I like. Like I like connecting with people. So doing something like this, like I have fun doing it, right? So I don't care about, or whether it's like the social media consultations or whatever. I have fun doing all that stuff. So I'm blessed enough to be able to live my life, and 97% of the things I do is just stuff I really like to do. And then sometimes I get paid for it, which is a nice byproduct. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it works for me.
It's nice to see the bank account in black instead of red.
Yeah, for sure.
So just to remind the folks, tell them about your company.
Oh yeah, so for everybody that hasn't heard of me, which is basically everybody, I am the co-founder of 712 Media. We've actually rebranded since the last time we talked. I'm the co-founder of 712 Media. We're a digital and social media marketing company based in Irvine, California. I have a strange affinity for Star Wars, the New York Giants, Eggs Benedict, and I like to call myself a business and personal brand builder. So I do that for individuals, and I do that for companies as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Social media. Let's talk a little more like new stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
Social media. Obviously, anybody who wants their business out there nowadays requires social media.
Yeah.
That's a friendly side.
Yeah.
Anybody who does anything stupid, somebody's always recording something.
Yeah.
That's definitely the bad side of it. Where do you stand on it? Like, how friendly, how evil is social media?
Man, I think it comes down to the individual and how they want to perceive everything to be, especially the way with how like Facebook's algorithm works, for example. Like you have the option whether or not you want to engage in negative stuff. And the more negative stuff, like there's crazy videos of kids like running up to normal people and like random people and just punching them and knocking them out. I can't believe that stuff's on the internet. So yeah, there is that like evil, I guess you could say, that's out there, or that negative energy that's out there. But if I decide to engage with things that are on the positive side and post things that are positive, it can be very, it can be an uplifting experience as well. In addition to that, my grandma in India FaceTimes with my cousin who's 2 years old. You know what I mean? And they literally know what selfie time is. My cousin knows how to use this. And I think that FaceTime is actually kind of, it's brought to light a lot with how Snapchat works. I think that video selfies or selfie videos is just a new way that we communicate. It allows people like you and I to get together, and we're very much on the same level. So for me, like, yeah, there's negative stuff wherever you go, but it's really what you choose to focus on. And for me, like, it's helped grow my business. It helps grow other people's business. I've met some of my best friends. My copywriter, who's a great friend of mine now, is, we met on Twitter. I started to fall for my girlfriend because of how she used her Snapchat was hilarious. Literally, I was watching her Snapchat and I was cracking up. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then she's obviously cute too, but it's like, but literally I'm watching this and I'm like getting to know her personality and her sense of humor through it. And that's kind of like my first introduction to how her heart and mind works sometimes. So I think that there's so much that comes out of it. If you choose for it to come out, because I could very well watch a lot of negative stuff if I wanted. I just choose to not have that in my life.
Well, you brought up that punching thing, and there's different versions of those videos.
Sure.
how responsible? Because I always think I'm not going to click on it. I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
And then I start reading comments, and I'm like, well, crap! Now I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
Like I wanna, and then I feel guilty because I'm like, damn it! Now I'm helping these guys become infamous for this stupid prank.
Right.
As a media guy, am I really helping them?
Yeah, I mean, the more engagement that you have on Facebook, like the more likes or the more time that somebody spends on a video, more comments or something, or even if you're trying to fight what's going on and you comment back to somebody who's like praising it and you say you're out of your mind, like even something like that is going to help it come up more and more in feeds.
Right.
So, yeah.
So just even the putting the angry emoji on Facebook is still giving them some credit.
Exactly.
Which creates all these copycats, which creates more. Because how many times, I mean, I've seen those.
There's like strings of them, which is crazy.
And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so like I've seen them myself, and I think that, outside of media and outside of, everything else, it's you always have to be aware of the BS that's going on, right? I can't remember if I can cuss on your show.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it. You're a regular now.
Yeah. I think you always have to be aware of what's going on, but it's like you acknowledge it and then go the other way type of thing. Because then, like, kind of every inspirational quote or every time you have a great podcast or something, you have to know what you're fighting against, right? You have to have a purpose. And if that purpose is fighting against the negative stuff, then continue to do that.
Because you always wonder, because even like, for instance, the fighting videos that are out there, and I believe there's always been bullying in schools, because I was bullied as a kid. Mm-hmm. There's always been fights, and we didn't really see the number of fights that were out there until social media, because there's always somebody fighting and there's always somebody videoing,
right?
And we criticize the person that videotaped it, but then we're mad at the people fighting, but then we're still watching. I mean, okay, again, I feel guilty for watching it, and I'll admit it, but I guess that would fall in the other ones. We're just as guilty for continuing to support them as the people who videotape them.
Yeah, but I don't think your intention when you're putting an angry emoji on something is like, is trying to promote them. You're trying to express that it's not all right. I think engaging with the community is all right too. Again, there's evil everywhere, but there's also goodness and there's also goodness everywhere too. It's like, what are you choosing to focus on more? You know what I mean? And how are you approaching it? Like, are you not saying anything at all? Like, what's worse? Watching the video, not saying it all, or watching the video and then commenting on it and be like, you guys are out of your mind. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So.
All right. So moving, the last thing about that, so we can move into the negative. Is it ever going to go away?
No. I don't think so. I think that humans have a propensity to pay attention to violence, to pay attention to, lewd sex acts, that type of thing. I think that it's human nature, to be honest. It's like the fall, for example, but I don't think it's going to go away. But I think that, at least from what I see, or at least the people that I'm surrounding myself with, we're much more unlikely to look at that stuff and try to shed some light into everything else that's going on.
I'll agree with that. I think that even though we cringe at it and we feel guilty for looking at it still highlights where society is. And for every dog abuse or every child abuse video that we have out there has to be something positive.
Absolutely.
And as long as I think, at least that's my purpose, I feel it's my purpose, as long as I put something positive out there, kind of to balance out my Facebook feed,
exactly.
I feel a little better. I can have my cup of coffee in the morning comfortably. Okay, moving on, because I'm curious, and I'm going to pick your brain about social media. You mentioned just now about meeting your girlfriend through media.
We met in person, but then I didn't get to know her. Like, we communicated on Snapchat.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
do you believe that we have our social media image, and then we have our personal image?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, there's definitely. I think that for me, let's just take me for example, because I don't know anybody else. All I know is me. I mean, there's definitely a persona that's on Facebook, on Snapchat, but even from Instagram to Snapchat, like I'm a little different. Those are all, I think everybody has a different personality. Like for you, for example, you go to a business meeting, you go to a business meeting with a prospective client, you're going to be a completely different way than if you're just hanging out with your friends. You know what I mean? So, but I don't think that it has to be inauthentic, and I think that there's multiple authentic sides to everybody.
Because I always wonder. And you're right. For instance, again, I'll take me. When I'm doing my video blogs, for instance, when I was going through cancer or my surgery, I'll admit, a lot of times those were on pain pills. Right. So when you're on painkillers, I think you're the most honest you'll ever be because there's no filter.
Sure.
I think that I'm more honest on video because I've learned that that's my niche. That's my image towards people is to be completely vulnerable and just tear away all the layers that I have. Mm-hmm. But then in real life, and some of my friends, even my boyfriend has called me out and said, how are you more honest with people you don't know? Yeah. And you can't tell me what's going on. Yeah. And I'm like, that's odd. And then there's the reverse. You people who are on video and they're just outrageous. And then you meet them and they're the most shy people that you've ever met. Like you can't get a word out of them. Yeah. Which one is more you?
Man, that's funny. For me, I think that I have my moments of like I need to be kind of I need to have like my me time. Like there's a lot of times where I'll just kind of like run into my room, not run into my room like that, but it's like where I really like to be by myself. But I allow myself time to myself almost every single day so I can get that out. But I honestly think, I'll be very honest for all the listeners, there's definitely a filtered version of Mikhail that goes out. You know what I mean? I think that the things that I can say can come off like super like kind of aggressive type of thing, like because I'm all about like hard work. I'm all about like I love like healthy competition. Like as nice guy as I am, I'm also a business person, and I can't be super nice all the time when it comes to that. I have to make a decision based on the goals for my company. I like to think it's funny. I like to think that I'm actually pretty close. I think that I'm pretty close on social just because I always like talking about this stuff. This is why I love your podcast, by the way, because everybody wants to ask me about Facebook's algorithm. You're like, how does your heart work? Like, that's what I'm about. Like, all this social media stuff is just a way for my heart to work a little bit better because I can connect with more people, spread the message that I believe in a little bit more, and it just so happens that I had to learn about social media to do that, which allowed me to implement those same strategies for, my clients and prospective clients.
That's pretty cool, yeah. Well, we talked about this from the very first episode, and people that follow my show have always known, like, I want to hear about your product or your business. Yeah. But how'd you get there? How'd you put it together?
Sure.
Which is, the name of the show, How'd You Put It Together? Because I think a lot of more people, we definitely celebrate people's success.
Right.
And we're happy for our friends. And we're like, yay, but how did you get there? Because now I want to get to my success. I want to find my success.
Yeah.
And especially in this, and I'm not going to get political, but especially in these times, folks are scrambling. They want to find their spot.
Yeah.
Because as much as people say we're so divided, I think that we're all kind of in the same boat. Yeah. Everybody's trying to find their space.
Right.
And be heard and be validated for what they...
Sure.
So bringing that up, can you go back and remind folks a little bit about your history, your story?
Yeah. It's funny. When I was 20 years old, I had my identity stolen from my dad, essentially. I don't know if I said that on the last one, but I had my identity stolen from my dad. Because of that, I was a nurse at the time, and I had my nursing license stripped from me. And there was a period in time where I was literally renting the rug doctor down the street to help my mom pay for rent because my dad went to prison. My stepdad, but like I call him my dad. And then I played poker professionally for 3 years. I ran some underground casinos as well to help pay for those both. And then when I found out that I wasn't good enough, because I lost a bet. My coach at the time told me, like, you have to net X amount of money in this month, and you either go back to school or you get a job. Well, I didn't want to go back to school, so I got a job, and I ended up being a sales manager for an internet marketing company. I got really good at that, learned a lot about the internet marketing industry, and then, fast forward a little bit, decided to start 712 because that company wasn't really doing the right thing. And when I started 712 with my business partner, who you just met, we almost immediately got sued for like $6.5 million, and I didn't have $6.5 million. So literally, it was cold calling. It was, Drew opened up his credit line so that we could kind of get started because a lot of the money was getting dumped into the lawsuit. But it was cold calling. It was knocking on doors. It was networking. It was putting our name out there in ways that weren't involved with social media because we didn't want to like piss off the person who was suing us more. So it was a lot of like building connections and like working the network that we had in the past. And so now we're in a place where we've employed people. You're here at our office, and that's not something that we had before. Like the first time that we talked, we didn't have that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or we did, but it was like a warehouse. It wasn't this nice, which is funny. It was like a warehouse that we kind of went to sometimes. And then, so we've made a lot of leaps and strides, and it kind of just comes down to, knowing where you're going, and then just not wasting too much time over analyzing a decision that needs to be made. You know what I mean? If it feels right, a lot of times just go for it. You know what I mean? The worst is going to happen. You're going to fail regardless. Like, sometimes, you know what I mean? You're going to make the wrong decision sometimes. But what's worse than making the wrong decision is not making a decision at all. Because now you're not even giving yourself a shot. You know what I mean? So I'm all about giving yourself a shot. And I think I probably learned that from my years playing poker. You know what I mean? Even knowing when I wasn't I wasn't favored to win a certain hand, I knew that there was other ways to like still win it if I needed to. And then in addition to that, I knew when I should fold my cards because it was a really bad situation. And I think that's something that people have to know too.
That brings up the word for me, fail, which commonly people think fail is a very negative thing. But listening to you and seeing where you are now, fail doesn't seem so negative. I see it like Mario Brothers. It's just another wall to jump over and find some more coins or whatever. Right. Does that make sense to you now?
Yeah. I think that, because you fail, period. Like, people do that. Like, I kind of used to be on this thing where it's like, oh, there's no such thing as failure. It's just a learning experience. It's like, no, there's fucking failures. You know what I mean? Some things don't work. Like, I spent the last 6 months pushing out personal branding consultations, hoping that it would eventually lead to more business, and it didn't. In fact, it kind of hurt like what I was doing because I took so much focus outside of 712. So you have to adjust. But at the same time, a failure is a true failure when you don't learn and adjust. If you continue to do the same thing, then you're just going to lose. But you know what I mean? Like, Jordan didn't win every game. Right. You know what I mean? Tom Brady didn't win every game. Even in his perfect season, I got to shout it out there, undefeated until he met the Giants. That's what I'm saying. But he's still the best quarterback maybe of all time. I don't know. You know what I mean? So there's failures along the way, but you can still win a championship.
So what's your thought on people who are continuously failing at something but choose not to adjust?
I think that's a lack of self-awareness. I think it's a lack of understanding, I'm just not good enough. And I think that a lot of that comes from pride. I think that they're not working for themselves. They're working because they want to impress their friends. They're working because they want to impress their girlfriend, their parents, their grandparents, and they don't want to say, hey, it didn't work out here, I need to adjust. I've been blessed enough to where every single one of my friends, most of my friends and my family were like, oh, you want to be a rock star? Because I used to play music. That didn't work out. Okay. You want to be a nurse? I got your back. I'm going to go and do this, whatever. That didn't work out for other reasons. Oh, you're going to be a poker player. My uncle had my back. And he was asking me about he kind of was excited, maybe living vicariously. Fine, that didn't work out. I'm a salesman, had my back. Oh, now I'm with 712. I'm lucky enough to have a really solid support system with my uncle, a group of my really good friends. My mom is amazing, but again, it's like when something's not working out, you still have to be real with yourself, because at one point or another, I know my my uncle would have said, you can't play poker anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just got there before everybody else. Or at least I realized that before it became too much of a thing or whatever. So they just got to change it up. It's a lack of self-awareness. Be okay with, like, you know, you might love social media. Let's say for me, I might love social media. I might love business building, but maybe I'm not cut out to be a business owner.
Right.
You know, I don't know that yet. We're 3 or 4 years into it. I don't really know that yet. I'm working toward it. I think that I'm good, but if 5, 6, 7 years come out the road and this doesn't grow, like, then I have to adjust if I want things to be better, unless I'm happy. I don't know. I could go on for a while on this.
How much does fear play into people maybe being afraid of or being willing or not letting their ego admit that they're failing? Does that make sense?
Can you repeat that?
How much does fear play into people not letting their ego admit that they're failing?
I think that's a lot of it. But
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the ego comes first because they don't want to admit that. So they're afraid to let go of their ego. They just have to realize that they have an ego. You know what I mean? So I think that's a lot of it. I think that people aren't necessarily afraid of failing. They're afraid of what their friends are going to say. They're afraid of what their family's going to think. But dude, if you have not everybody has it. I'm lucky. You know what I mean? I'm blessed. Not everybody has it, but your family's going to have your back. But even then, even if you did fail, like, if you gave it 100%, like, at least you did it. The worst thing that could happen is, like, you regret not giving it a shot, being a musician or a poker player or whatever it is, if that's something that you always wanted to do. Because then you're looking at your girlfriend, your wife, your family, and you have resentment toward them. You know what I mean? Right. And that's more detrimental.
Yeah, and I agree on that, because I have friends like you that, well, I'm going to do this video blog, and I launch it, and nobody watches it. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to tweak it a little bit.
Sure.
Now I'm going to do this, and then, 3 people watched it, and then you're like, okay, why weren't you watching before?
Yeah.
And then but you have to have honest support system.
Yeah.
Because we all have that one aunt or the grandma is like, oh, Mikhail, you're wonderful. It's great.
Yeah,
and
my grandma's going to love me no matter what I do. Yeah.
And but honestly, they're like, no, really, have a cookie. You're like, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Give me the cookie. Give me the cookie, but I'm going home. I think that's really important because, like you, I think we're both kind of blessed in that way.
Sure.
We have a support system that, like Christian, my boyfriend, he'd be like, that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Or I'll put a podcast together and then he'll be like, yeah, not your best work this time. And then I have to go back and listen and go, oh, I see what I did this time.
Yeah.
I decided to change it and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you have this one idea that you're like, fucking A.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned success earlier, or we mentioned success. Have you... Okay, let me start with this person. Can a person find success more than once in a lifetime?
Hell yeah. I find success every single day. With that being said, I mean, there's just different versions of what it is. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I find success every day, I also think that I haven't done anything every single day. You know what I mean? So it's like, cool, like, I'm waking up again. I don't have to check in for the time being, it's like, I don't have to check in to somebody else. This is like my business partner, my business. This is what I'm doing.
Right.
The clients are happy. The employees are happy. In addition, like, I feel healthy. Like, you know, I found a good girl. Like, there's all these little things that I feel really successful in. At the same time, I'm also thinking like, all right, well, we're not generating as much revenue as I want, but we're still alive. You know what I mean? We're not living the way that we want to live, quote unquote, but we're still living. You know what I mean? For right now, it's like, you know, I still get my steak for the buy one get one free type of thing. I'm not going to Ruth Chris or anything like that. So it's like, but you know, it's just about I think that there's successes in every day if you choose.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little deeper here.
Okay.
Why do we have a harder time celebrating the small successes, but we're so quick to celebrate or to bitch about the small bumps in the road?
Because it's easier to complain. You know what I mean? It's easier to complain. It's easier to bitch about how you don't like your job than to change your situation. You know what I mean? It's like, it's easy for somebody to wake up and was like, I hate my job, but I'm still going to go in. It's hard for somebody that's just like, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I'm going to change my career path. You know what I mean? All of that. It's you know, I think that's really what it is. And in addition to that, I don't know. I think it's a lot of it too is like, it's a lot of it has to do with who people surround themselves with. For me, I celebrate every little thing, but that's because the people I've decided to surround myself with, like, they like celebrating the same things. They have daily practices of gratitude. You know what I mean? So that's a lot easier. But like most of I feel like I don't know, but I feel like too many of the population, they're still they would prefer posting negative things on Facebook instead of doing something about it. That's the problem. Posting about it and complaining doesn't take any work. Doing something positive takes work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've said that. I started saying pretty much the same thing when I was in rehab, which will be 10 years come June.
Yeah.
So 10 years clean and sober. Will
sure.
be June.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. My longest relationship ever.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I started telling people that when I was in rehab, because obviously rehab could be the best place to gripe about anything in life.
Right.
Especially if you were court mandated to go to rehab. But I was telling them, like, it's so easy for you to sit here and complain.
Yeah.
But you're sober, you're healthy, you're safe, you're not in jail. Like, your family's still talking to you.
It's a success every day.
Let's celebrate that. But you want to get caught. And I'll admit, and I think you'll agree, we all have a time in our life where we sit down and go, fuck you, world and universe, and God, where are you now?
Yeah.
And it's a very melodramatic moment. How have you been able to walk out those doors?
Dude, I just, for one, again, it comes back to like knowing what I really want for myself. I don't want to be in any position in my life, whether it's in my business, personally, anything like that, where I'm not happy and I'm like complaining or whatever it might be. If I'm in that spot, then I'm not doing the right thing. So it's understanding that first, but then after that, it comes back, like when I get really pissed about something, the first thing I do is I spend a lot of time, like sometimes I'll do it in the shower for a long time. This isn't sexual, by the way.
I was like, oh, okay. So that's where we're going. Okay, no. It's cool.
I light some candles. No, but the reason I say the shower is because it's like your phone's actually gone. Nobody's really going to bother you, like any of that stuff. So I'll, like 30 minutes in the shower, like I'll stand there and just really get, like, understand that there's so many good things that are happening, like in my life at any given moment. There's a lot of really good things. And once I can change my state, I can look at a problem or look at something that's pissing me off a lot clearer. Now, sometimes that takes a lot longer. You know what I mean? Sometimes I can do it in a day, 20 minutes, whatever. Sometimes it takes a lot of practice depending on how heavy it is on my heart. But I think but I don't think people are willing to take that time to like kind of, you know, look at themselves like that. So, you know, where it might take me a day, a week, or a month to like really figure out a problem or a solution and figure out where I want to do. Some people make it last for years and years and years because they're not willing to step back and look at like, look, it's never that bad. You know what I mean? So, did that answer the question?
Yeah, no, totally. But, and you know, because energetically, a shower is one of the best cleansing. That's what I heard too. Yeah, because I meditate while I'm showering, and that's my moment. Yeah. That's why I like to take my time, get in the shower. I have my special like aroma soaps. Right. Every aroma has its purpose and meaning. Right. Kind of take it all in, and even I do light a candle once in a while, just like put some nice music, and sometimes it's really like rocking at music, and sometimes it's like Britney Spears, and it all gets me in the mood. But yeah, the shower is definitely where you can go in and just cleanse your energy and wipe it down. It's a great start. Yeah, I do it while I work out too. I've noticed that it helps for me personally. It helps out while I'm running or while I'm doing something physical, to like really clear my head in that spot. But really, that's the thing, man, is like no great creative solutions come out of an angry place. If you do something out of spite, if you're doing things
out of anger, out of jealousy, out of envy, your end product's always going to suck.
Yeah.
But if you can come from a place of like, hey, look, like I'm going to love this situation because it's going to teach me to be a better person, and maybe it will affect other people. I'm going to love this situation. You can really come from that, higher level of thinking. Your solutions not only are going to be better, but you're able to sustain it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's just being consistent and continuing to do that.
Yeah, it's just like when you go out to eat. I mean, I like to eat.
I like to eat.
You like to eat. Yeah. And you go out and you try a new restaurant and you bring your food and it looks beautiful.
Right.
And then you take that first bite and it's like, whoa. And you know that whoever prepped that did it with love.
Yeah.
The passion.
Right.
You can taste it.
Right.
And when you go somewhere and you know that they're just not...
Yeah.
I mean, you probably had some Eggs Benedict and they came out and you were like, oh, what the hell is this?
For sure.
Like,
yeah.
Did you whip the sauce with your finger? What the hell?
Exactly.
For me, it's a taco.
Right.
Like, why is the tortilla falling apart? Like, it's not a taco. Another thing that you mentioned, which I think is really interesting and we both agree on, is the support system. Again, people sometimes think that they're surrounded by the right people.
Right.
Because everybody's agreeing, everybody's telling them how wonderful. Yes, people.
Yeah.
They have the yes people.
For sure.
I don't like yes people.
Same.
I don't like being a yes person. What type of people, I don't know if this question will make sense, what type of people should you have around you? What kind of friends should you have?
Man, that's a tough thing because that comes down to the individual and what they want. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to really answer that question. I can say what I like for me. So for me, I like people that choose to replace negative habits or actions with positive ones, because I'm working on my stuff too. I've been fighting nicotine for 15 years. You know what I mean? It's tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, well, I can't hang around a bunch of smokers because I'll just smoke. Damn, now I want a cigarette, but it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like, and so in that same thing, it's like, dude, if you don't want to sit around and just like kind of gossip or whatever, then you need to kind of change what that is. Again, it depends on what you want. You know what I mean? What do you want as an individual? Do you want to like learn how to play basketball more or whatever it is? Do you want to kind of like raise your career or anything like that? If you want to raise your career, you better start hanging out with people that are not only willing to encourage you and mentor you, as opposed to, there's a difference between mentoring and critiquing, or like criticizing and trolling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like mentoring comes from a place of like, yo, you're doing this wrong, here's a solution to help you. Trolling and critiquing and all this shit, that's just like somebody speaking out of envy. You know what I mean? So if you want that, then like you gotta maybe start hanging around with people that that are at a higher level than you might be in business or in your life or in your relationships or anything like that, and really learn from them. Never forget about your old friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
But never forget about your old friends, because those are people that got you, that are always going to be there for you, type of thing. But understand that if you were the person, let's just take smoking, who used to smoke all the time, and you know that like if you're around smokers, you're going to start smoking again, you're probably going to have to not hang around smoking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if they're going to be the type of person that's like, oh, I don't care about your struggle, I'm going to smoke in your face right now, then is that really a friend, or is your friend going to be like, you know what? I don't want to smoke either. This sucks. It's $11 a pack now. And
wow.
It's $11
Serious?
a pack, and I smell like shit. Let's not do this. You know what I mean? So
11. That's a lot of dollar tacos. And
that's a lot of tacos.
Today's Tuesday. That's a lot of tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Don't smoke, people. Buy me tacos.
Yeah.
Send me the $11.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me do this then.
Sure.
Think about your support system. Okay, now think about 3 people in your support system. What do they have that makes you better? I mean, you don't have to say their names. So.
No, it's fine. What they have that makes me better is they're relentless in their mission and in their work. My uncle, for example, like, he works his face off He's a great family person, and he'll even call me out and be like, I don't care what you're doing. This is family. You come. You know what I mean? And he's the first person to tell me, you're making excuses, da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? So it's that relentlessness in their mission. And that's whatever that is. Whether it's being a loving person and that's their mission, they don't care about anything else but being loving. You know what I'm saying? If they're a hard worker, they don't care about anything else but their career. And I think it's that drive to just not let anything kind of come in the way of that. And I think that's what it is.
Cool. Because I think a lot of times we... like I said earlier, we surround ourselves with people who are criticizing us, and we think that they're doing it for our best. And then bringing this conversation kind of full circle, they start instilling that fear in us that we're never going to accomplish anything more than that failure. Like, you're never going to be more than that.
Right.
So just keep doing that until you get it right.
Yeah.
And then we never find that success.
Yeah.
Do you think people have found success and not realized it?
Yes. Every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. If you can wake up in the morning, like, dude, if you can wake up in the morning and you go through your entire day and you didn't complain about one thing, you made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and I was telling this to somebody the other day, people wish for $1 million or they want $1 million, not because of like having $1 million, but they're married to the idea of what that's going to bring them. Whether it's security, a nice car, or, you know, traveling more, when really you might be able to accomplish the same thing with 150, 200K, or even 70. It just depends. Like, do you really want a Bugatti, or do you just want to, like, bowl with your friends whenever you want to bowl with your friends? Like, what is it really? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I think that, yeah. So I think everybody's, like, they have a lot of successes every day. I don't think people realize it, whether it's in business or personal life.
Yeah, and I think we don't acknowledge personal success as much as we value professional.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
I think that sucks. I think that sucks, man, because I think that there's too much weight, especially we're in Orange County, right?
Right.
Especially when it comes down to your bank account with your car, where you live, like that type of thing. Look, I have some value in that too. I'm not sitting here like Mother Teresa. Like, I want, like, there's a white BMW M4 with red interior that I want. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, so it's not like that, but I don't think that there's enough, I don't think people praise each other enough from a real place. You know what I'm saying? But again, I don't know. I don't know what other people's intentions are. When they say good job to me, or when they say, like, you suck, I can only kind of imagine what's going on with them or whatever, but I just know what I'm up to. You know what I mean? And what I'm up to is X, Y, and Z, and I'm just going to continue doing that, and we'll see who's there at the end.
I'm posting on Facebook, and for those of you listening, I've been doing this 365-day thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
So from January 1st through December 31st, I'm posting a thought for the day, and I'm hoping to make a book out of it.
Nice.
So 365 things.
Did you come up with that?
Kinda, yeah.
Is it like a guideline thing? I was just curious.
Yeah. So one thought a day, and then at the end of the year, I'm going to post on the back what inspired that thought, so people can read through it.
Right.
And then whenever you open the book, whenever you get it, whatever page you open out, that's your first day, and you'll follow it. Yeah. Hopefully, they'll fall into place anyway. Yeah. And I'll talk about that more later. But the thing that I posted last night was it's easy, a lie is more believable than the truth, and we I think success, going back to the success thing a little bit, we don't believe sometimes that we are that good. We underestimate how good we really are. I know I do it sometimes with my work, and I have to go back to Christian 5 times and go, was that okay? Yeah. Or even an outfit like, is this good? Sure. And until somebody else might tell me, like, oh, that looks horrible. See, I told you it was horrible. I gotta go change now. Yeah. Have there been times, and we're getting to another time, but have there been times when you doubted yourself so much, or when somebody like really criticized you, you were like, fuck, I'm really messing up?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, but then the last 3.5 close to 4 years of my life have really been about finding out who really I am, what really makes me happy, what drives me and gets me up in the morning, and what my mission is. And I'm very secure in what that is. Yes, there has been people that have done that, and it throws me off for a little bit because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's not at all what I'm doing, who I am, or whatever. But the number one thing that I've learned over 3 or 4 years of really figuring this out is you can never ever help what somebody else thinks about you or how they react to you or anything like that. All you can help is what you do and how you react to it. You know what I'm saying? So there aren't I've had good friends unfollow me on Facebook, for example, or on Instagram because they can't stand the inspirational quotes. It's stupid, little things like that, and there's also more macro things too that have happened. But it's like for me, it's I know that I know that that's a huge part of who I am. It's not a part of my brand or because I get more likes or anything. Dude, I haven't really grown that much in my Instagram following or anything since
me either.
Yeah, and I'm posting every single day and doing that thing. But this is something I really believe in. So if it changes one person's life, that's all that matters. I would like to do it at scale. But if it's one person, then that's fine. If it sparks one more conversation, then it's fine. You know what I mean? Some people don't buy it, but that's just who I am, man.
Without sounding overly conceited, because I'll put this on myself too. I've discovered also some friends that I'm I go back and look for them. I'm like, oh, what happened to them? And then I realize, oh, they offended me. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I follow them a little bit. I'm like, oh, your life is really sucking right now. Things are really bad. And I wonder if my motivation, even though my life is not the most awesome, but I've survived cancer, I've survived AIDS, I have a colostomy.
That's a lot to be.
I've survived quite a bit of shit. So I have a place in my heart where I can say, life is good.
Yeah.
Shit's gonna happen. But overall life is pretty good.
Yeah.
So if I'm holding up a mirror to your face and showing you that you not having the car you want, or you not having the girlfriend you want, or the money you want is the most horrible thing in your life, then it's not on me. That's your own personal ego or failures or fear. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's the thing. And I think there's a very fine line between just so that you're more confident in this. There's a fine line between being conceited and happy with what you have and who you are. And I believe that you're happy with who you are and what you have, and that's why we get along very well, right? So it's there's a fine line with that, but some people take it as conceitedness, some people take it as arrogance or whatever. It's no, I know who I am, bruh. So you kind of keep going from there. And then naturally you'll start being around people who understand it. That's the cool thing, is I've met so many people, even just straight through Instagram, straight up. There was this girl back in December or something like that who reached out hey, I just want to hang out with you, go take a hike or whatever, because she liked whatever I was posting, and then we did, and it just so happened that we were just on that same level of how we think, how we act, almost how we talk, and how we approach life and what we define as happiness. And as you put that stuff out, it attracts more people like that, whether positive or negative.
Yeah.
So if that person's naturally a negative person, if you're being super positive, that person's naturally negative, or that's where they're at, of course it's going to deter them. You know what I mean? Because it's hard for people to change.
Yeah. One thing that my popularity on either side has not grown as much over the last years that I've done podcasts, but it's grown with the right people.
Sure.
Because I won't say nothing. There's something really special when I get an email from some guy in Africa or India or somewhere that says, hey, I just discovered I'm HIV positive and I have nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
But I heard your show and I want to talk to you. And you're like, shit, man, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Or somebody that's been, some guy in Indiana who has nobody to talk to about anal cancer. And he's I can't talk to anybody here. They don't understand.
Yeah.
Can we talk? And I'm like, here's my number, dude. Call me. And you're up at 1 o'clock in the morning and just walking them through.
Right.
I don't know about you. That's when I feel like my purpose in life is being met, and I have success. I've succeeded in one aspect, or my brownie level towards God
Yeah.
has gone up. God's looking down on me going, oh, that fucker's doing well down there.
Or not even that. It's just like, see, I told you there was a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's amazing. And of course, it's like with something like that, it's like you're out. It's talking just like social media for like your audience is probably not going to grow super huge from that unless we start telling the story better or whatever. But it's like who cares? You can have 10,000 followers, and if you don't affect anybody, who gives a shit?
Right.
But if you have 200, but of those 200, there's 100 people that are reaching out and you've impacted, that's real. So.
That's the thing that matters. I think I've discovered that I don't mind not having the popularity that other activists have had or the followers that other podcasters have, because I know that the folks that do follow me know that they're going to get like true stories.
Cool, right.
Yeah, none of this is made up or put together for them.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. All right, so we're down to the last 10 minutes, and continuing with the tradition of the show and giving folks words of inspiration or words of wisdom. I'm going to leave it open. What do you want to tell the folks out there?
Man, let's just scroll through my Instagram and see what I was talking about for the last month. I think the most important thing that most people need to figure out is what really makes them happy, and realize if they have that in their life every single day, there's a good chance that they already do. Like I was saying earlier, I would love to see $1 million in my bank account. Although I know that for my life goals, I don't need to make $1 million for what I'm actually seeking, which is financial security, which is a little bit of freedom to travel a little bit, which is maybe a nicer car or anything like that. So those are very materialistic things. But what I'm saying is people have really big dreams and they don't understand that on a day-to-day basis, they're probably already accomplishing it. So spend more time understanding that you've kind of accomplished a lot of your goals on the day-to-day. Understand what you're really good at and don't let anybody talk shit on it. And if they do, fine, fuck them. You don't want those people in your life. You know what I mean? Understand what your mission is about. What do you feel like? Are you here to be the best father? Cool. Well, do you need $1 million to be the best father? No. You know what I mean? Right. Are you here to inspire people? Maybe. You know what I mean? Yes, no, maybe. Do you need 1 million followers on Instagram to do that? No, you did it to one person. Job done. You know what I mean? It's crazy, and that's the thing for me is I literally wake up every morning. I'm like, fuck, I'm doing something really cool. I've done something really cool. Job's done, but on the equal side of that, I do have bigger dreams. So I'm like, I also haven't done anything. So it's always being able to understand that you're accomplishing. But if your dreams are bigger than what you have, then you gotta treat every day like the first day you ever started. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of keeps me going.
Cool. I like that. You can have $1 million, but you only need one reason to be happy, and that's it. That's it. Yeah. You don't need the million. It would be nice. It would be nice.
I'm still working towards it.
How many tacos can I buy with that?
Exactly.
How many Taco Tuesdays can I hit?
Yeah.
Well, Mikhail, thanks, man.
Thank you.
This is a great way to come back on the show. Yeah. And I'm glad that you're cool. I mean, I could kiss your ass a whole lot, but let's not do it. But
I got time. If that's what it is.
For the last 7 minutes, we're just gonna kiss his ass. I appreciate when folks like you are like, hey, come over. Let's do this. Yeah. Because it's hard work for podcasters like me, to say, do you have time to talk to me?
Yeah, no, I understand that.
But I've enjoyed your positive attitude from the beginning.
Thank you.
I'm really inspired by your come to story, and I think that you're doing an awesome job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So thank you. So for everybody out there, thank you for welcoming me back. We are here at the offices of Mikhail at
712 Media.
712 Media. I was going to say 721. That's not 721. 712 Media. I will post all his links on the Facebook page so you guys can follow them. Thank you to my producer, Mr. Kevin Warriors. Thanks to all the brothers over at abnormalentertainment.com. Check them out. Check out all the shows on the network. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. There's been a lot of new shows since I was off the air, so go check them out at abnormalentertainment.com. Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. At Little Mexican, LILMESICAN. Send me your requests, send me your info. What do you want to hear about? hey, maybe you want to be a guest on the show. Let me know. Just send me a message and I'll get in touch with you. Just make sure to send me all your info and we'll put that together. So I guess for now, this is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together.
Subscribe to Put It Together on iTunes, Stitcher, and at abnormalentertainment.com/putittogether. Find Put It Together on Facebook and tweet Daniel at Lil Messican, LILMESICAN. And for more podcasts, comics, books, movies, and more, head to abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.
Hello, I'm the host of Gloryhound and the Uninvited Gamers, a podcast featuring gamer news, kickstarting board games, and heavy entertainment. So if this floats your boat, check us out on Stitcher, iTunes, or at gloryhound.com.
Don't have time to grocery shop? Let Shipt do it for you. Shipt lets you put in your order and brings your groceries to your door in as little as an hour. All you have to do is sign up at shipt.com and enter the membership code ABNORMAL, and you'll get $10 in free groceries on your first order. Save time, get what you need, and leave the shopping to Shipt.